Hello students, welcome to this module. The title of this module is Social Welfare Administration, Meaning, History and Principles. The learning objectives of this module are to understand the meaning of the term Social Welfare Administration, to learn the historical context of welfare administration, especially in Indian context, and to delineate the evolution of social welfare administration from history to the present context, and to comprehend the principles of social welfare administration. Lastly, to provide an overview of the principles of administration. As you already are aware that there are 6 methods of working with people in social work discipline. The first 3 are called the basic methods. They are casework, group work and community organization. And the 3 they are called secondary methods or auxiliary methods. They are social welfare administration, social action and social work research. In this module, we would be talking about social welfare administration. This you must have already read by now. As you already know, administer is a Latin word from where the word administration is formed, and it means to care for or to look after people. Fifner in 1946 has given this definition of administration as the organization and direction of human and material resources to achieve desired ends. Here we are going to talk about social welfare administration. So, before looking into the term welfare administration, let us understand what social welfare means. Particularly the term social welfare, it aims at providing services to weaker sections of the population who, because of various handicaps, say physical, mental, economic, social, they are unable to make use of social services provided for general population. For example, a visually challenged child is unable to attend the conventional school in the sense that a normal child would be able to attend it, because he or she would be requiring braille to read. So, social welfare services include services for disadvantaged sections of society like children, women, aged, scheduled castes, scheduled tribe, other backward classes, minorities, people with disabilities, individuals abusing drugs and economically underprivileged such as unemployed and destitute. The objective of social welfare services is to enable marginalized sections of the community so as to help them to reach the mainstream of society. So, now we can define social welfare administration. Kidney in 1950 has defined it as the process of transforming social policy into social services. It is a two-way process. The first is transforming social policy into concrete social services, and secondly, to use the experiences in recommending modifications of policy. Likewise, Friedlander in 1958 has defined administration of social agencies translates the provision of social legislations and the aim of private philanthropy and religious charities into the dynamics of services and benefits for humanity. Trecker likewise has defined it as process of working with people in ways that release and relate their energies so that they all use all available resources to accomplish the purpose of providing needed community service and programs. You see, Trecker has provided a very broad definition of social welfare administration. Social welfare administration now has changed its approach. As you know, social work has travelled a long distance from charity to welfaristic approach, and now we talk about empowerment. And hence, welfare administration is also taking the shape of development administration with rights based approach. We now call that ours is a welfare state, and welfare state is the state that provides extensive services to the people. It is the administration that enters into the economic, political, social and educational life of individuals, and it provides services to individuals right from their birth to death. So, this makes the definition of social welfare administration very broad, but specifically when we talk of social welfare administration, the target group that we are serving are old, sick orphans, widows, helpless, oppressed and the disabled people. Whenever they are in need of services, social welfare administration steps in. Let us now look at the historical context of social welfare administration. As you are aware, social work started with mutual aid, charity, and religion has played a very important role in providing the backbone to this social work initially. We talk about dharma, that is the duty, dana, daya, all these values, they formed the base of social work. And also the kings and the royal families at that time, they used to help out to the poor and the needy. But one thing is definitely there. At that time, charity and helping activities, they were dependent on the benevolent nature of the king. If the king is very benevolent, very kind, helpful, then he or she would provide the services, otherwise not. Then Ashoka, Harsha, Chandragupta Maurya, Akbar, Sher-Shah Suri, all of them, they did a lot of welfare services and their administration is the welfare administration. Then in British government, we see social legislations coming into place, especially with the work of many conscientized Indians. Banning of sati custom, permitting widow remarriage were some of the examples of the British government doing the welfare administration. And now after independence, Central Social Welfare Board came into existence in 1953 and it provided technical knowledge as well as financial support to the NGOs and voluntary organizations to do the welfare activities. Until 1964, different ministries were looking after welfare activities, but there was no autonomous body or any ministry designated for doing social welfare activities. In 1960, Renuka Ray Committee recommendation was given to the government, and in 1964, under the prime ministership of the then Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, the Department of Social Security was formulated and it was under the Ministry of Law. In 1966, it was renamed as Social Welfare Department. Then in 1971, it was relocated in Ministry of Education and Social Welfare. In 1979, its status was raised to a ministry, and in 1984, it was renamed as Ministry of Social and Women Welfare. Then a separate Ministry of Women and Child Development was constituted, and in 1985, it was renamed as Ministry of Welfare. Then in 1998, it was renamed as Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. This you can very well relate the change in approach from welfare to empowerment. Now let us look at the principles of social welfare administration. These principles are given by Treca. The first is the principle of social work values. It says that social work values like equality, social justice and empowerment form the base upon which service delivery system of social welfare administration is based. So, as an administrator, if you come across any problem, say destitute aged female, you are required to view her situation and base your interventions on social justice and rights based approach. The next is the principle of community and client needs. The interventions carried out by social welfare or development agencies are based on the needs rather than the felt needs of the community people. This is very important for the applicability of the program and acceptability of it. Now, in the above case, if you decide to send the destitute aged lady to old age home, it would be really inappropriate. Your interventions should be based on her felt needs, whether she wants to go or not. The third is the principle of agency purpose. The agency should have a clear-cut, well-defined purpose, formulated goals and should work in that direction only. No agency can work on all the problems in the community. Agencies should have fixed goals, and if you come across an aged destitute lady and your organization is working on education of girl children, You may provide the networking and referral services by sending that aged lady to an NGO working with the aged, rather than start working yourself in that area. The principle of cultural setting. The administrator needs to understand the socio-cultural setting of the community, as it greatly influences the service acceptance and in fact success or failure of the services. Socio-cultural norms and values greatly influence the administration. You need to keep the cultural setting in mind while executing any program in the community. Let us continue with the same example of destitute aged lady. If you are in Western country, you may be sending her to old age home, and that would be the best option. While in Indian cultural setting, old age home would be frowned upon, and trying to locate her kin, rehabilitating her would be the appropriate option. Still, in rural India, several destitute aged women, they are taken care of by the community itself. So, by this we understand that socio-cultural context is so very important for the welfare administration. Next is the principle of purposeful relationships. Effective purposeful working relationships must be established between the administrator and all the stakeholders, the staff, other agencies and the community people. Purposeful amicable relationship forms the base of any social work interventions. In fact, social workers are called the doctors of relationships. The next principle is the principle of agency totality. Based on the ecological approach, the agency and its functioning should be understood in its totality, which is crucial for development administration. This means that you need to understand agency's functioning, its significance in the context of the problem, policy initiatives, social norms, etc., and also various components of the agency's functioning in the holistic manner. For instance, HelpAge provides helpline, mobile Medicare unit, advocacy, legal services for the aged. So, this forms the holistic services needed for the elderly. The principle of professional responsibility is the next one. High professional standards of practice and accountability and responsibility should be maintained at all levels of service delivery. The principle is linked to professional ethics of social work. Next is the principle of participation. Development administration rests on people's participation in the development process, right from the planning to execution and evaluation of services. Democratic participation is important aspect. Community people or target groups are not the passive receptors of care and services, they are equal partners. Nowadays, we call them primary stakeholders and not the beneficiaries. Their participation ensures sustainability. Next is the principle of communication. Open channels of communication are essential to the effective service delivery, including welfare and development interventions. As you already know, communication forms the crux of any relationship, any intervention. Open channels of communication means ensuring that system where target groups are freely able to come to you and discuss their felt needs, give suggestions on your services. This also applies for your subordinates and seniors. The next is principle of leadership. Though democratic and participatory approaches are must for development administration, a visionary and transformational leadership is equally important for attaining the goal of overall development. As an administrator, you should be able to inspire other people. They should look up to you. You become their role model. That kind of leadership is required along with the base of participatory approach. Next one is the principle of planning. As a technical component, the process of continuous planning is fundamental to the development of meaningful services. In the context of development administration, planning has to be participatory, involving the service users. The principle of organizing is the next one. It says the work of many actors should be arranged in an organized manner and be structured so that responsibilities and relationships are clearly defined and there is no confusion as far as delineation of work is concerned. Next principle is the principle of delegation. Delegation of responsibilities and authority is an important aspect of administration process and is practiced universally in all types of administrative settings. Next is the principle of coordination. Coordination within the agency and with other stakeholders and outside social environment is an important component of administration which must be ensured to successful implementation of programs and services. Coordination, the best example of coordination can be our body. As you see, all the organs in the body, they work in unison, and that is how coordination, that kind of coordination is also important in an agency setting. The principle of resource utilization is the next one. Resources are always limited. Optimum utilization of resources with maximum good is a must, and it should be one of the primary responsibilities of managers and administrators. Next is the principle of change. Guided social change in a positive direction. It is the crux of social development and is crucial for social welfare administration and the planners. The principle of evaluation is the next one. Evaluation gives us the idea whether the intervention that we have carried out is successful or not and what next changes should be made in the other project. So, continuous evaluation of intervention processes and programs is essential for the achievement of overall goal of holistic development. The last principle given by Trecker is the principle of growth. The interventions designed should lead to holistic growth and development of all sections of the society. It should not be merely confined to the betterment of select few and on ad hoc basis. Here comes the principles of administration. What we did just now are the principles of social welfare administration. These are the general principles which are required in any administrative setup. These are also called the technical components of administration. As you have seen that principles of planning, organizing are also given by Trecker in social welfare administration. These principles, they are by the name of post-cob given by Luther Gulick. P stands for planning, and planning means working out broad outline of the things that need to be done and methods to be adopted to accomplish the purposeful setting of the enterprise. O stands for organizing. It is the establishment of formal structure of authority through which the work is subdivided, arranged and defined, coordinated for specific objectives. S stands for staffing. Staffing is the process of filling in all positions in the organization with adequate and qualified personnel. Thus, it means whole personnel, bringing in and training the staff and maintaining the favorable work conditions. D stands for directing. It is the continuous task of making decisions and supervising so that the work is done in a unison and according to the objectives. CO stands for coordinating. It means integration of several parts into an orderly whole to achieve the purpose of the undertaking. In other words, coordinating means all the important duties of interrelating the work of various divisions, sections and other parts of the undertaking. R stands for reporting. It is keeping those people informed to whom the executive is responsible about what is going on. In other words, reporting means keeping both the supervisors and subordinates informed of what is going on and arranging the collection of such information through inspection, research and records. Last, B stands for budgeting. It is all that goes with budgeting in the form of fiscal planning, accounting and control. You would be reading about all these principles of post-cob in detail in separate modules.